What's good, everybody? Welcome into Breaking Bet here on this Sunday, January 11th. It's playoff football time.
Yeah, man.
I got my guy Brad Thomas in here. What are you rocking here, buddy? Let's talk about what's this Outlaws.
Dude, it's Premier Lacrosse League. Got the Outlaws, Denver Outlaws shirt, man. They'll actually be probably happy that I'm repping it right now. Yeah, man, their stuff is fire. This is actually way too big for me though. It's like a freaking 3X or something. But in the wintertime, bro, you don't care about like a tight fit. You want to be comfortable, bro.
What winter? We don't have winters down here.
Bro, it's cold, man. It's like
cold. It's 80 degrees today. Bro, I'm about to go swimming while I watch the games today. What are we talking about?
Bro, it's like 60 degrees outside right now.
Where are you? Orlando?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you got to come to South Florida.
It's 76 now. You know how Orlando gets though. Like it's cold in the morning and then hot in the afternoon.
Yeah, I know West Palm gets. It's gonna be 80 degrees today. Johnny V is gonna be GTLing. Well, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm not gonna be gymming. I'm gonna be tanning and laundrying. But
hell yeah, that's lit though, bro.
We got some football. We couldn't. Apologies because we couldn't coordinate our schedules yesterday to get a podcast for Saturday. But and this is after the fact, but I did give out some picks on my Discord yesterday. I had Panthers plus 10.5, and I had Bears money line. So really, let's recap some of these games. Yeah. Heading into it, Brad. Reason I like the Panthers, and you were actually out that weekend that the Rams went to the Panthers during the regular season. I have my guy Sia on here. Sia and John. Shout out to Sia. Great handicapper. So we both liked the Rams, and it was a very similar situation. It was like 10.5, then like 2 hours before game time, late money came in on the Panthers, knocked it down to 9.5. And I'm like, I don't know. That's interesting. Sharp money late is usually dangerous to bet against. So I had the same sort of thing. Like the Rams have been playing very sloppy this year, especially on travel games. Yep. We've seen them lose outright to Atlanta as a 7.5 point favorite. We saw them lose outright to Carolina as a 9.5, 10-point favorite. And they blew the game to Philadelphia. Like it's been a little shaky. And look, not that necessarily I thought Carolina is a good team, but they've definitely made great improvements. They have guys that can keep them in the game, especially if Bryce Young plays, halfway decent. Yeah. And I just felt like that was a big number. And I felt like there's going to be a repeat of the regular season where some late sharp action came in, and ultimately Carolina hung in there. Dude. Realistically, though, Brad, I'm sure you could agree the Rams probably should have blown them out. There was some They were playing around a little bit. What'd you see from that Rams-Panthers game that ultimately Matthew Stafford had to play hero again, hitting Colby Parkinson on a beautiful back shoulder to give them the go-ahead touchdown with 38 seconds left?
For a Rams team that gets so much pressure on the quarterback, they actually freaking stink, man. That team is not going to beat Seattle. I just feel like they mismanaged the game so much. Like watching them play, it's just mismanagement after mismanagement. You have to kick the field goal there, because if you kick the field goal there, you extend your lead and you make them sit in the locker room with like, hey, we have no momentum. How are we gonna get this together? Instead, you let them get momentum, go into the locker room, and it changes the entire trajectory of the game for your squad. But also, like, they're not good on the back end, right? Bryce Young pieces them apart. I didn't think right. Listen, they were a 10-point favorite. So I think there was a lot of thought process going on, like knowing they were going to play the NFC South winner and probably having really good confidence, whether it was Tampa or Carolina, that they were going to win the game. I don't think that their game plan should have been so focused or heavily focused on Devontae Adams without letting him come in and play a little, when was that? The game before, right? You're telling a guy, I don't care who it is, coming off an injury that just doesn't play the week before your playoff game, that you're going to feature them a ton. It just doesn't work. What happened? Drops, right? He looked slow. He looked like he was a step slow. That game was just mismanaged. Yeah, Tay, that game was just mismanaged from start to finish. And I think the Rams are kind of lucky to get out of there, right? But also, like, laying 10 on the road in the playoffs. I don't care who you're playing.
Travel cross country. spot, man. The truth is this, in my opinion, the Rams probably should have blew them out, but look, Puka Nacua had one of the most odd drops that I think we'll ever see.
Dude, really odd.
A guy that's made some insane circus catches right before half. If you missed it or if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. Matthew Stafford threw a dot right to Puka, who had a step. I think it was a step on J.C. Horn, if I'm not mistaken. Had a dot. It would have been a touchdown for the Rams going up, before the half.
Yeah.
And Puka just flat out dropped it. Like that ball went right through his hands. It would have been a touchdown.
It was bad.
Brad, if I'm not mistaken, the Rams would have been up 21. What would they have been up? I don't remember. It was, let me go check.
Yeah,
So
go check.
I'm just trying
I tailed somebody on Rams first half. And so that whole freaking thing had me really ticked off.
They were, okay, so the Rams were up. Did they settle for a field goal on that drive? Or no?
No, so the Rams were up
they were up 17
they were
to
up
7.
17-3 or 17-7, excuse me.
They're up 17-7. I don't think they scored on that drive.
No, they didn't.
So that would have put them up 24-7. Not only did they not get, I think, did they go for it on fourth down and didn't get it?
Yep.
Okay, so they would have went up 24-7 going into half. But ultimately, Puka dropped it. Then they go for it on fourth down and don't get it. So instead of being up 24-7, now the Rams are up 17-7, and they give the ball to Carolina at good field position. Bryce Young ended up running in a touchdown with 37 seconds left. So what could have been potentially 24-7 ended up being 17-14 going into half. And then, honestly, a lot of mismanaging by the Rams in the second half. Carolina, ended up taking the lead on a Jalen Coker tutty. Shout out to the Cokeheads out there. Jalen Coker scored a touchdown with 2:40 left, and Carolina was up 4. And then it took another great drive for Matthew Stafford to engineer. Colby Parkinson, sick back shoulder fade tutty. And then the Rams end up winning 34-31. So it really wasn't a clean effort. But, I mean, it's kind of scary to think about. And we saw this all year, that when the Rams aren't even playing their best, they still put up 34 points on the road. And listen, it's Carolina. They didn't have a winning record this year. They're still a building in progress. So we're not saying like, hey, they went on the road in Philly and did this, or against really, really good defense. But still, nonetheless, I mean, I find it bizarre, as a side note, that like people are calling out Matthew Stafford because he threw a pick, and like, yeah, Puka broke up an interception. That was a big one from Puka that he broke up a pick. But like Matthew Stafford still goes on the road in a playoff game, goes 300, 3 tutties. One of those touchdowns didn't count, or I'm sorry, he had 3 touchdowns. Puka drop touchdown would have been 4, and then Puka's second touchdown
was a rush.
Ended up getting called a rush. I mean, whether that's the correct call or not, I think it technically is, because I looked at it bit by bit. It looked like Stafford let the ball go at the 7 and Puka caught it at the 8. But still, I mean, ultimately Stafford played a great game. He had 1 pick, and he should have probably had another pick. But he engineers game-winning drive, and people are like, "Oh, this is your MVP." I'm like, "Buddy, like, what are we doing here?" And they were like, "Oh, well, you have Puka." I'm like, bro, nobody knew who the fuck Puka was before his rookie year. Sean McVay came out, was like, "Yo, draft Puka in fantasy," and he was right. But people were acting like Puka was this first-round pick, like top 10, was destined to be a stud. And like, there's the same thing with Cooper Kupp, who was a virtual wide receiver 2 at best before Stafford shows up. People are calling out Stafford like he shouldn't be the MVP. Like, first of all, playoff game has anything to do with what happened in the regular season. Makes no sense. Nevertheless, Rams advance. It was definitely dicey. Now with Green Bay losing, which we'll get to in a second, they're going to go to Seattle for if the 49ers win, they're going to go to Seattle. But if the 49ers lose, then the Rams are going to go to Seattle for the 3 match. So the Rams, despite the fact that they do not look good, they still advance another week.
Yep.
They still
That's all it's about at the end of the day, right? Surviving.
That was a tough catch. Let's not act like Jimmy. Let's not act like Horn had a ball go right through his hands up here. He was running this way and had to like reach back. I mean, was it a ball he should have caught? Yes. That's not an easy catch. So Rams advance. Brad, we got to talk about that game last night. I'm going to tell you what I did.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you what I did. So I liked, and again, so I had Panthers plus 10 or 10.5, and then I had Chicago money line because Chicago, I think, was the favorite. And then late this week, it flipped to Green Bay favorite status.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't agree. I don't love either of these teams, but I just couldn't bet Green Bay based off what I saw from them to end the season. So many injuries. They just have no continuity in their team. Losing Micah Parsons. Their defense really, to me, isn't that great. Their offense, like I like Jordan Love, and he played a great game. So I'm not putting this on Jordan Love, even though he really didn't do that much in the second half. But I mean, you're up basically 3 scores. That I'm not putting that on Jordan Love. You scored 27 points on the road in a playoff game. You should win that game. So Jordan Love had a great game. I'm not blaming him on that. But Green Bay blows it again. So Chicago. And Brad, we've talked about this many times. You know why I took Chicago yesterday?
Why?
Interdivision home dog, brother.
Yep.
That has been a cash cow. That's hit a lot, not just this year, but more times than not in recent years from what I've been keeping track of. So the Bears have to rely on more heroics on a game that they shouldn't have won, come back and beat the Packers. Thoughts on the Bears? Thoughts on their chances the rest of the way? What'd you see? What are you feeling on Chicago?
First of all, that game was insane. They were when they were down. What was it, 28-3 or whatever?
No, they were down 21-3.
21-3. They were plus 1,000 on the money line. But their live spread was plus.
I saw 1,500. I saw 15 to 1.
Wow.
And I didn't see it on the books. I only saw what people had online. Because I'm going to tell you.
I was actually at a I was at
it was
11.5.
I saw 11.5 at one point, and I didn't track it the entire game, so it could have been bigger.
It just felt like they were going to at least make it a game, which was crazy. Yeah. And then when that second half started, you were like, they're doing everything in their power not to get back in this game. But LaFleur is such a stupid coach, bro. Like, first of all, once the momentum has already shifted, it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a tight game. Why are you blowing timeouts that you're going to need later? Second of all, dude, run some clock off, man. Run some clock off. Like, I get that you have full faith in your quarterback, but you got to burn this clock as low as little as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
The Bears are, I don't know. Ben Johnson made some really bad decisions early, but he stood by them. But I thought the creativity that he brings to any team is just like, it's out of this world. And you see like the Detroit Lions, they struggled, but there was one play specifically that I wanted to like highlight was that the touchdown play, right? You think as a head coach that the Bears are going to run some clock because they don't want to give you the ball back after they kick the field goal. So they set up that screen look, and it was a fake bubble to who was the wide receiver out there? Luther Burden. Fake bubble to Burden, and then have more go out. It was like bubble fade, right? I think it was the route concept. How like, and it seems so like simple for us to say that, but like how smart was that? Because you, as a head coach, your initial thought is they're going to play something underneath a screen, something in the flats, or run the ball to milk some clock, and then you throw that fake bubble fade, right? Like that was a Madden play. Not that it was like crazy, but the idea of like timing, execution. Ben Johnson just brings that to the Bears, right? Like they always have these late game heroics, but I think he's just a damn good coach. And man, shout out to them. Poor Packers, but whatever. I think the Bears deserve that win. They played really good football at the end of the game is where it matters, right? They also played the middle 8 pretty well too, which I thought was could have been better, but you win the middle 8s. You play well at the end of the game. You're going to win the game.
I got to be honest, dude. I don't think either team deserved to win it. Ben Johnson, for the most part, did not call a great game. From what I saw. No. I'll put it to you this way. The Bears had several drives they stalled out in the red zone.
Dude.
They were moving, and they were just shitting all over themselves. Bad play calls, bad execution in the red zone. But my favorite was in the second half, in the third quarter. It might have been the Bears' first drive out of the half. I don't remember. But what I do remember is it's 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10. And Ben Johnson says, you know what it's a good time for? Let me have DJ Moore in the backfield flanking Caleb. We run like a delayed draw. Gets blown up, completely destroys the drive in the red zone. I'm like, bro, like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? Like, luckily, Green Bay is good enough at choking that Chicago is able to come back. Caleb had a couple great throws. I mean, I'll be honest, man. Like, I still have questions about Caleb Williams. He kind of masks some of these heroic throws. Like, he's got insane arm talent and is able to make plays. Did it at USC. Not 100% sold, but I did love that fake screen call for Luther Burden. Like, Luther Burden had Green Bay terrified. They bit so hard on that screen. DJ Moore streaking down the sideline for a wide open tutty. But I mean, look, man, it was great to see the Bears have more resilience to come back. I actually live bet the Bears. They were there in the third quarter. It was 21-6.
Yeah.
And I live bet them at plus 750.
Oh, dude, that's
sick. I didn't throw a ton on it. I was like, hey, you know what? Look, I think Green Bay's letting Chicago hang around. I think Chicago's going to do what they've done a lot of times this year and end up coming back. And ultimately, that's what happened. So that's pretty interesting. Now, Chicago at the 2 seed, they're either going to play Philly or they're going to play Philly, the Rams, or San Francisco, depending on what happens today. But what are your thoughts on Chicago the rest of the way here?
Man, I just don't think they. And I'm going to be wrong on this, but because like consistently they're like the worst winning team, right? Like their post game win expectancy is always opposite, which means the other team had a higher post game win expectancy. Their execution, their advanced analytics are terrible. They keep winning. I just don't think they can beat any of the remaining teams in the NFC. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest problem with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, man, I agree. I think honestly, the team that I'd be afraid of if they win today is going to be Philly, because the way it shakes out, it's like this, right? Say the Philly wins. Philly's a 3 seed. They'd play the 2 seed automatically, which means they're going to go to Chicago. They got bullied by Chicago the first time. I don't think that happens again. And then that means the Rams go to Seattle. Regardless of who wins that game, I think even though they've been playing just aesthetically unpleasing football, I still think Philly's dangerous, man, at plus 750. I think if Philly wins today, they have a really good shot to get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I look, I think ultimately it's Rams-Eagles, but the Rams have played sloppy too. And the Rams would have to travel cross country. And I know the Rams should have beaten them. They blew the game and they had the kick. But it's a different team now compared to what we saw earlier this year. I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. But nevertheless, man, let's get to our Sunday slate. It's a triple loaded slate with 1, 4, and 8 o'clock. First up, Bills at the Jags. Jags are a -1.5 point favorite. Brad, this is a really good game. I'm very interested to get your thoughts because I'm going to lay it out. I think Jacksonville's roster top to bottom is definitely better than Buffalo's.
Yeah.
No question. But it's the X factor of Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, man.
Overcome so many of these Bills' shortcomings. Like, what is your thought here on this game today?
What's kind of funny about this game is, like, the Bills, we talk about how bad their defense is, but, like, it's not all that bad, right? Like, outside of them having the second worst run defense in the NFL, like, they're not terrible, right? They don't allow people to play deep, which means they keep everything in front of them. They don't allow quarterbacks to beat them through the air. So my thing is, like, can they do enough to stop ETN? Because if you do that, it becomes a competition between Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, and let's just talk about the advanced numbers, the advanced analytic numbers, right? I want to do like a side-by-side comparison to the defenses, because we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars run defense is legit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this team is just a really good defense. But, like, just compare defensive ranks. EPA per play, 3rd versus 14th. 3rd is Jacksonville. Success rate, 6th versus 12th. EPA per pass, third Jacksonville versus 6. And then we talk about the rush numbers, but this is where it really gets interesting. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 26th in explosive play rate on defense. Bills aren't great either. Bills allow a lot of explosive play. They're 19th, but third down conversions. Both these teams allow teams to convert on third down a really high clip. 40.37% for the Jags and 41% for the Bills. What that tells me is there's windows for this Bills team to just hang around, and then you say, if this is a game late in the game, if this is close, who do you trust more to get the job done? And I think that makes the Bills dangerous. But I think the Jaguars win this game. I think they're a better team top to bottom. After all that I've said, it's just really hard if you can't defend at a high level on the road in the playoffs. I like the Jags. I think I bet them at, I want to say I bet them at +2. Let me just pull it up here. I bet them at, I can't remember what I bet them at. Dang it. I think I bet them at +2. I gave that out on my podcast, Tuesday Morning Forecast. It's on Spotify for anybody who wants to listen. But I just feel like a home game, the home record for teams in the NFL is freaking insane. And we had a home team who I didn't think was the better team win the game yesterday in the Bears. But I'm going to pull this number up for you here because I think this is something that we should talk about. In the last 4 years, right? So this is the expanded wild card scenario. Home teams, 19-5. This is not including yesterday's data. 19-5 straight up. 17-7 against the spread. Go Jacksonville, man. What do you think?
Truly, I think everything that Buffalo wants to do, Jacksonville matches up against the run. And granted, like, dude, I think you got to take it with a grain of salt, right? Jacksonville, how many big wins did they have against playoff teams this year? Not that many.
No.
They played a relatively easy schedule for the most part. I mean, if we're really looking at it, Jacksonville's metrics might rank really high, but it's like then, you watch the games, use the eye test, and, you really dissect, like, who did they play and when did they play? Like, they played Carolina week 1. Carolina playoff team, yeah. But, like, week 1, brand new season, trying to figure things out. Like, I don't know. They lost to the Bengals in week 2. They barely beat the Texans in week 3. The Texans were a disaster, really, until like the middle of the season when they just went on a heater. They beat the 49ers with a lot of injuries. They beat the Chiefs, and we saw the Chiefs weren't that good, but at the time that was a big win. They lose to Seattle. They get demolished by the Rams. They barely beat the Raiders. They blew a huge lead to the Texans, which honestly was the catapult to the Texans' second half surge. They destroyed the Chargers, absolutely destroyed them.
Destroyed them, yeah.
Barely beat the Cardinals, the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals. They dismantled the Titans. They beat the Colts. That was when Daniel Jones got hurt in the rain, so really don't know what that game looks like. Destroyed the Jets. The big win they had was at Denver. That was when where I was like, hey, I was really impressed with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I liked Denver that game, and I gave a ton of credit to Jacksonville going on the road to Denver and really putting belt to ass. That was a big win. Then they barely beat Indianapolis following week. That was with Rivers. And then they destroyed the Titans last week. So I'm not sitting here saying, hey, like, I think they have a huge amount of quality wins against teams that were really that good, in my opinion. Yeah. But they beat, for the most part, who's on their schedule. And that's what good teams do. Now, I think some of their numbers are a bit skewed. But at the end of the day, what they've matched up well with, especially against the run, is what the Bills love to do, is run the ball with the rushing title king, James Cook. Ultimately, I'm going to go with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be the same reason why a lot of other people are going to bet them. No Burrow, no Allen, no Burrow, no Mahomes, no Lamar. If it's not now for the Bills and Josh Allen, then it's probably never going to be. This is their chance. This is their year in a wide open AFC. And I feel like Buffalo is not a great roster. They're not. Their defense has been
No,
bleeding all
not a
year.
good roster at all, bro.
They don't have one wide receiver I feel confident in. Like, I like Khalil Shakir, but he's not a number one. Keon Coleman had like one game this year. He basically got demoted, in the third quarter of the season. Dalton Kincaid might be their best pass catcher, and he's been hurt a lot.
Yep.
So it's really going to rely on Josh Allen to be Superman, be the guy that won MVP last year. Their defense has got to come up with some stops. I just think, I'm going to say Josh Allen plays Superman today because I think Jacksonville's a good team. I think they've kind of proved themselves. Hey, they've done this all year. They're a good team, but are they that good? Is Trevor Lawrence going to come up in the clutch here? Maybe he does. What does Liam Cohen look like in his first game as a coach in the playoffs? I'm just going to go with Buffalo. I think Josh Allen makes that big play. That's really all it comes down to. Everything else roster-wise, I think I'm going to go. The only thing I don't give the advantage to Jacksonville is the running back, and I like Travis Etienne, but I Cook rushing title leader, and Josh Allen. I mean, maybe Dalton Kincaid as well. In all fairness, but defense, I'm giving it to Jacksonville. I mean, realistically, most of the other skill positions I think goes to Jacksonville, and that's what it comes down to. I don't love it, but that's what it is. I actually did a parlay, a futures parlay, because I'm like, hey, look, I want to have a little something on the Bills in case this is the year that they say, hey, we're going to make it happen. But instead of taking the Bills at 10-1 and having to lay like $200-$300 to get something that I feel like was a good return, I parlayed Josh Allen to win Super Bowl MVP at 12-1, which I feel like if they're going to win the Super Bowl, he's got to win the MVP.
Yeah.
And then parlay with a college baseball team to win the College World Series to get some nice equity there. But point is, I'm going to go with the Bills today. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who my biggest prop exposure is in this game.
Hit me.
You want to take a guess? Come on. You know the answer to this.
Parker Washington.
Dude,
nice,
bro. I think Parker Washington's going to have a big game today. I actually just cooked a parlay. So I have Parker Washington anytime touchdown in a little parlay today. So I have some money left over. I have some money left over from last night's Bears live win. I threw a little parlay with Parker Washington in for a touchdown. Then I have a different one where it's a super long shot where I have Parker Washington 90 receiving yards with a couple other things. So I'm like, hey, like Buffalo on paper, their secondary hasn't allowed a lot of yards to wide receivers. They've actually been one of the best. But it's like, are they really that good? And Parker Washington is emerging late in the year, but he's still not the focal point of Jacksonville's passing game. Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas, Brenton Strange. Parker Washington is going to get favorable looks because if they try to draw extra attention, you still have all these other guys that you have to account for. So I think Washington's going to get some good one-on-one looks. And if you look at the volume the last few weeks, Parker Washington's been basically the focal point of Jacksonville's offense. But I don't think a defense can prepare for him as just the focal point. Because if you do, then that's where Myers is going to come along. Brian Thomas is still Brian Thomas, even though he had a bad year. So I think Parker Washington's in for a big game, dude. Wouldn't surprise me to see him get in the end zone. He was 2-1 to score. I think he could flirt with a Hyundai piece in terms of receiving yards, especially if this thing turns into a shootout, dude. Like if Buffalo can't run the ball, this thing could turn into a shootout, and Parker Washington can be a recipient. I like Washington to have a big game today. Deadass. Brad, got some action here in this 4:00 window. What's this?
Oh my God!
What is it? What is it? Say it again.
Royal Mint.
What is the Royal Mint?
You tell him. Tell him.
You don't remember, do you?
Wait, it's dogs of 5.5.
Road dog closing at exactly 5 or 5.5. Obviously, we have until 4:30 for this line to close. DraftKings has a 6. FanDuel has a 5.5. Money tipping to Philly maybe pushes to 6. It gets a 6 everywhere. It's not a Royal Mint spot, but as of right now, it is. Look, I like Philadelphia. I think they're going to win this game. I have a little future on San Francisco from before the Seattle game because I'm like,
Okay.
hey, if they win this, they're the 1 seed. They get a week to get healthier. Home field all the way. This was probably the worst possible draw they could have gotten. If you're the 49ers traveling to Philly, that was probably the absolute worst draw you could have hoped for.
The worst.
Somehow I think San Francisco's live today. I'd probably take them on the spread. Trent Williams is going to be back, it looks like, so that's big. Fred Warner's not back. I think Pearsall's back. Pretty much a lot of the guys that were missing going into Seattle's game are going to be back. I know they sustained a couple more injuries on the defensive side during that Seahawks game. I think Philly's going to win this, but I think San Francisco is going to cover the number. I think just money's pouring in on Philadelphia. I think Kyle Shanahan's just going to have something just to have his guys ready to rally up here to cover the spread. I think Saquon's in for a big day, though. I think Saquon's going to have a monster. I think McCaffrey's going to get peppered in the pass game. I'm going to go with San Francisco to cover, but Philly, I think, wins, man.
Man, I do think San Francisco covers. I think that the 49ers are going to be able to have a little bit of success on the ground. Throughout their season, they weren't running the ball super effectively, but it started to come along a little bit more later in the season. And there's a team that had a lot of adversity, whether that be injuries, all injuries, excuse me. And for them to challenge for winning the division is like remarkable. But defensively, this is not the 49ers team that we know and love. It's a team that can't get pressure on the quarterback, but they also don't blitz. Like, how in the world do you think you're going to win in the playoffs without getting pressure on these quarterbacks? Because we're not talking about quarterbacks, these C and D tier quarterbacks. Just about every team left in the playoff has a or B tier quarterback, and they're going to dice you apart. And their defensive numbers reflect it, right? Anytime the quarterbacks have time to sit in the pocket, your numbers are going to struggle. It's a team that's 24th in defensive EPA per play, but the really scary numbers is success rate. They are 32nd, dead last in the NFL in defensive success rate. I think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are going to be able to dictate the game. And what I mean by that is, if this is a team that wants to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley 30 times and have success, they're going to. If they're going to want to feed A.J. Brown and have success, they're going to.
Yep.
And that's scary for the 49ers. So I like the Eagles to win. I just have a hard time laying the big number of 5.5.
Okay.
Because I don't trust the Eagles through and through. And I just think the 49ers have done enough. But man, that Niners... Who was it? Niners Seahawks game left me really kind of depressed for that squad.
That was a tough one. That is a tough matchup. But I think San Francisco is going to cover this number. I just think it's a little bit too big. I understand there's cross-country travel. You're going against Philly. Philly can match up with you, especially with all the injuries on defense. But let's remember something. San Francisco offensively got demolished against Seattle. But let's put this in perspective. First of all, you're going against probably the best defense in the league all year.
Yeah.
I mean, Houston. You could probably interchange Houston and Seattle's defense as 1-2. That's a division rival game. And third, Trent Williams wasn't in that game. San Francisco held tight. They probably should have lost by 3 touchdowns. They didn't lose by much despite getting dominated the entire game. But the reason why San Francisco didn't score is because Brock Purdy had rushers in his lap all night. And why was that? Because Trent Williams didn't play. Trent Williams has a huge ripple effect on the entire offense, and it permeates throughout the entire offensive line. Now Trent Williams is back. That's going to create a much different look for San Francisco to be able to move the ball and score. So I think we're having a different look on the 49ers because of what we saw against Seattle. Meanwhile, they're missing, let's call it what it is. Trent Williams is probably their best player. Despite having McCaffrey and having George Kittle, Trent Williams is probably their most valuable player.
Most valuable easily. Because
he's the most valuable. So now you have him back for this game against a Philadelphia defense that's very talented. That should create a big boost. And I'll tell you what, I think San Francisco can go out there today and score 17 to 21 points. Do you disagree?
No, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, look, man, I think this is a very interesting game. So, I mean, I think San Francisco is going to be able to. Get it done, man. I really do. I really think that they're going to, or at least let me apologize. Let me say, I think they're going to be able to cover. So we'll see. Any other props in this game, Brad?
No, I didn't bet any props for today's slate.
Just not a big prop guy.
I love props, but like I just feel like these lines are so sharp, and I was so late to the window, man. Like if I'm this late, it's just like, what am I doing? You know?
Okay. Well, hey, I mean that's. I don't know, man. I think I understand, but I just think there's some solid stuff today. There's some good props. Like I like Saquon Barkley. I gave it out earlier this week. Longest rush, 17.5. I think that was solid. I know he hasn't had a ton of explosive runs this year in terms of like what he had last year. And the longest rush has been a little bit lighter lately, but San Francisco's defense is bleeding like that. I think Barkley's probably going to get 20 carries today. And I'm sure one of them is going to pop for a 20-yard gain. So,
hold on. What about Brock Purdy rushing yards?
I mean, he's probably going to be doing some running today.
See, like I can't do it. I can't do it because his number is crushed now. It's 16.5.
16.5.
God dang.
What?
That's a lot, man.
16.5 for Purdy? What's he?
Yeah, dude. He's normally like a 9.5 guy. Like what?
I don't know, man. Take his under then.
No. It's not one of those. I think he's a run high. I think the Eagles are like top 5 in in scramble rate for quarterbacks, which is pretty high. So 16.5. I'm gonna pass.
Pass?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
I think this could be a game Devontae Smith gets loose. I have him in that parlay of Parker Washington. I think this is a game where Devontae Smith can have a big one. Just kind of putting that out there. Interesting, to say the least. All right, what about the Chargers-Pats, Brad? 3.5, New England, home favorite. Chargers traveling cross country. I mean, they've looked. It's a little uninspiring trying to bet the Chargers. You think the Pats are going to take care of business at home, laying the 3.5?
Yeah, I think they are. I'm not a big fan of the. I'm not a big fan of the Chargers, man. I just don't think they're that good. The Patriots are an interesting team because everyone says they haven't played anybody, right? And sure, but they have been successful all season. And what I mean by that is their success rate numbers. Their highest completion percentage in the NFL is Drake May. This is still the NFL. whether you have a favorable schedule or not, you're still going to have to perform well to have those numbers. It's not just a fluke, right? So, I think they cover the 3.5. I think they cover it with ease, actually.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm going to go with New England, to be honest. I know it's 3.5, and people get a little intimidated with the 3.5. But let's call it what it is, man. I mean, I just haven't seen enough from the Chargers in the last couple months to be like, yeah, this is that team that's gearing up. They had a shot to hang with Denver for the division title, and obviously would have changed a lot. But then they fall all the way to the 7th seed. Look, man, they're talented, but they just haven't proved it to me where like, hey, I want to bet the Chargers in the playoffs. I don't think I bet the Chargers in the playoffs since 2022 when I had them preseason at like 25-1. That was the year they went to Jacksonville, had like a 25-point lead and blew it, or 25-3 lead and blew it. And I understand the coaching is different, but I haven't been able to get over that. I mean, you look at what happened, right? The game that really melted them down was the Texans. They lost at home to the Texans 20-16. And I understand the Texans have a good defense and their offense has been playing better. But come on, man. That's a huge game. That's a game you have to win. That's huge for seeding. That changed the entire seeding conversation, because if you're the Chargers and you win that game, now you have a shot. If a couple things go your way, because if they win that game, then they're not sitting Herbert against the Broncos the next week. So now you have a legitimate shot to be the 5 seed. Now the 5 seed goes to the 4 seed, which is Pittsburgh. I'd much rather go to Pittsburgh than go to New England.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers are a talented team, but they just never seem to get over that hump. Now you have to travel from Los Angeles to Foxborough, Massachusetts. That's a long fucking flight. And New England's defense has been great this year. They've been able to hold down the run. So I don't know how much room Kamani Vidal or Omarion Hampton's going to get today. Herbert's going to have to be great.
I think Hampton's banged up.
Yeah. I mean, Herbert's going to have to be great today. The Chargers defense is going to have to be great. I think there's and we talked about this so much this year. I think realistically speaking, there is taking what New England's done this year with a grain of salt. They're a good team, but I personally don't think they're that good. I think the AFC is very.
You think they're just lucky because they had an easy schedule?
I'm not saying lucky. It's because they've been a good team. Vrabel's a great head coach. Drake May's had an awesome MVP caliber year, but I don't think they're that talented to this level of New England's in the running for top 3 best team in the NFL this year. I think if they played a first place schedule, then we're probably having a conversation about New England maybe trying to get in as a 7 or a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Not being the 2 seed. They only beat one team that was in the playoffs this year, if I'm not mistaken. They beat one team with a winning record. I mean, they play their game very well, but, how well does it work against better teams? And listen, I think they have the advantage today. And I know, everyone's going to – if New England wins today, everyone's going to be like, well, see, New England can do it against playoff teams. Yeah, fine. I'm not saying the New England Patriots aren't good. I just don't know if they're that good to the level that, they've been hyped up to be. I mean, I think New England gets past today. I think they're going to take care of business today. I don't have much of a reason about the Chargers. On paper, they are a good team, but they just never seem to deliver. They always seem to find a way to lose, not win.
Dude, I don't think they're that good of a team on paper.
I mean, you got a lot of talent. You got 3 receivers that I like. You got a tight end that I like. You got 2 running backs that I like, even if one's banged up. You have a quarterback who I think Justin Herbert's a star, man. I really do. But, he hasn't proved that he can consistently do it in the playoffs. Their defense is talented. Jim Harbaugh was at 3 straight NFC Championship games. He's been to a Super Bowl as a coach.
Yeah.
On paper, what more do you want? Granted, they had some shit luck with injuries on the offensive line this year. Maybe that changes the perception of us for the Chargers this year with Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt. But other than that, what do you want the Chargers to have? aside from the offensive line injuries, well, what are they missing on paper for you to say, hey, their roster is not that good? Like, I think their roster is really good. I think this is one of the best rosters the Chargers have had in a while.
What would make them better?
Aside from having Alt and Rashawn Slater and all their
I guess just the injuries. I guess you're right, right? On paper, they're good. I guess it's the injuries that bother me, right? And you can't help that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, you got the quarterback you want. You got 3 good receivers. You have a stud tight end. You have a good backfield duo. Even if Hampton's hurt, Hampton's super talented. Let's be honest, bro. Hampton's probably the most talented running back they've had since LT. I know Melvin Gordon had a couple really good years, but was Melvin Gordon more talented than Amari and Hampton coming out? Or was he more talented than Austin Eckler? Austin Eckler was really good. I loved Eckler. He was a fantasy stud for like 4 or 5 straight years. But
yeah,
Amari and Hampton, I think we could probably agree, is the most talented running back they've drafted since LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, you're more of a college guy than I am, but off memory,
I mean, it's just too early to tell on Hampton. I have really high hopes for him. It's just really too early to tell, right? Like,
and their defense is probably one of the best it's been in 10 years. They've had some good defenses in the past. I mean, this is a really good defense. Top every level, they've got big playmakers. My thing is, I don't know what more we can see from the Chargers, like in terms of putting the pieces in place. Again, the offensive line's huge. That's gonna play a factor. That's just, you can't do anything about. You have studs on the offensive line. They just got hurt. But I mean, haven't seen it from the Chargers. We're like, yeah, like I feel good about them today. Going to New England, travel cross country. Remember last year they went to the Texans. They looked good, and then they just fell apart.
Yeah,
the Texans put belt to ass. I mean, look, maybe they pull this one off. Maybe they do. But I think New England at home with the travel advantage, they're hot. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They have their formula. They stick to what works, and they do it. And look, I think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, but I'll be honest, man, I think Mike Vrabel's a better coach. That's really what it comes down to for me. Are
you taking the 3.5?
Yeah, I'm going to take New England 3.5. I think New England's going to deliver.
Yeah, okay.
I see the Patriots. I see the Patriots.
That's what I was confused about. I didn't know if you were.
No, I'm sorry. I might have went off on a tangent. I apologize.
Okay, I was like, okay.
No, I'm saying, like, why would I, like, what is it about the Chargers that, like, you know, they have everything, but I still don't believe in them. Like, what more could we want from them? It was my point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I see New England winning this game like 24-20. I think it's close. I think Herbert makes some big plays. I just think there's a big mistake made on the Chargers end. New England pulls away late. They win by 4 or 5 points. That's it. I don't know if I'm betting anybody. I mean, I think if we're betting a Chargers player, do you like
the weather in this one? Let's talk the weather in this one real quick. Hold on, let me pull this up. Football.
Yeah, that's good. I know you're.
This one is interesting because it's 33 degrees, 9 miles per hour wind with 20% chance of snow showers.
Snow?
Yeah.
Let's talk matchup advantages here. Brad, by the way, I took Justin Herbert rushing yards like to 50 in that parlay with Parker Washington, Devontae Smith, just like a super long shot.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, if you're the Chargers, the area to win in the pass game is with the tight ends. I mean, they're bottom 10 in the league against tight ends. Oronde Gadsden could be a huge mismatch advantage for them if they're going to be able to move the ball. I mean, that's probably the guy that I'm betting on for a Chargers pass catcher to have a good game. Patriots have been top 6 in the league in wide receivers this year. They have given up some touchdowns.
That's just been so freaking annoying, though.
He has. But, I mean, maybe, I'll be honest, I think probably Keenan Allen or Lad McConkey is the bet to get in the end zone for Chargers wide receivers. I feel like Quentin Johnson's going to see a lot of Christian Gonzalez. And maybe they move him around. I'll be honest, I haven't, paid enough attention to know if Christian Gonzalez is going to be shadowing or not.
Yeah.
But Chargers receivers, I think Ladd and/or Keenan is probably a solid bet today. Trey Harris is a sneak play at 5-1, but yeah, that's it. All right, Monday night, Texans at the Steelers, 3 points. Brad, is this a trap game for the Houston Texans? Is Pittsburgh going to pop out here with a dub?
Dude, I ended up betting the Texans money line, and I was sitting there and I was like, is this line ever going to move? Is this line ever going to move? And now it moved, what, 10 cents, 55 cents? I mean, 0.5 cents. Why is it not moving? Right? Like, are we trusting the Steelers that much? This is a team that I think is just going to get obliterated defensively, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, man,
What do you think?
I bet the Texans. I just think they're better defensively. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers. And my problem with these slow, methodical offenses like the Steelers is like against good defenses, you have to have such a high level of success, right? Like on a down-to-down standpoint, you're going to have less possessions in the game. So if you fail 3 times and you give up 1, and obviously we're talking about I think in comparison, the Texans offense is better than the Steelers offense, Texans defense better than Steelers defense. So it needs perfection. And I don't think the Steelers present that. I have a hard time believing that Tomlin is going to just put some wizardry magic and win this game. They needed voodoo to win the last game. It's not coming again. There's no voodoo. Tomlin's going to lose his job or he's going to leave the organization. This is an automatic fade spot, right? Like automatic fade spot. Don't even think twice about it for me.
I think the Texans should win and cover this game. I'm going to pick them to win and cover. But I just know that Pittsburgh is going to pull some bullshit and like hang in there. Just something's going to go weird that they're going to be in this game at the end and have a chance to win it. There's not really any advantage for me to wanting to, for me to pick Pittsburgh. Like, well, what do they have that's such an upgrade over Houston? Houston's defense is disgusting. What Houston has done in the second half of this year is remarkable. Like, I had them being bad this year. They were bad to start the year. We talked about this preseason. I thought Texans were going to be shit this year. And they were in the first half. And then, bro, that Jacksonville game where they came back just sparked everything. It changed everything. Like, their defense was playing great, but then, like, their offense started matching them halfway. They lost C.J. Stroud, and then I was like, all right, Davis Mills is their quarterback. It's done. They're done. No, they're not. And their defense was never the question. We always loved their defense like a lot of other people did because they're elite. Now the offense has played at least halfway decent pretty much every game since.
Yeah. Elite defense.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Texans. I'm going to go with the defense. If they let us down, they let us down. But I can't not bet that defense against an offense that really isn't that good.
Yeah.
Like, I think Derek Stingley is going to match up really well with DK Metcalf. I think DK Metcalf honestly, if it's majority of Metcalf versus Stingley, I think Metcalf might beat him 3 times.
Okay.
Like, in other words, Metcalf will have somewhere between like 2 and 4 shots in the game to make an impact play. And if he does not do it, then Steelers have no chance. Because, how are the Steelers going to consistently move the ball? Their best bet on offense is to be able to try somehow and sustain like these 10, 11 play drives, kill like 5 to 7 minutes every time they touch the ball, which is almost an impossibility for them, and just be efficient in the red zone. Like, I don't really see a big way. Like, the Ravens should have won that game, another game that they blew. Like, Derrick Henry, did he not touch the ball in the last 10 minutes or something? Or am I thinking of the other game? But no, it doesn't matter.
The problem with the Ravens, what they should have done was they shouldn't have been so damn arrogant. Pittsburgh is a hard place to kick. Why the hell would you just take a knee with 12 seconds for a 44-yard field goal like you're 35 or in?
Yeah.
You run a play. You have a timeout.
Yeah. So I'm not. I'm going to go with Houston. I don't love any props in this game, but I think the Texans are going to deliver. All right. That being said, Brad, updated. What's it looking like for your Super Bowl predictions? It looks like so our Bucks Chiefs was cooked a couple weeks ago.
Cooked. Super Bowl predictions. You ready?
Yep.
Patriots, Eagles.
Interesting. Start the NFC. I don't think the Seahawks are going to get in. I don't think the Bears are getting in.
No, I don't think the Seahawks are getting in. I think the Bears are getting in.
I'm going to say the Niners are not getting in at this rate.
Screw the Broncos.
I think it probably comes down to the Rams, Eagles. I'm probably going to go with the Eagles out of the NFC. And then AFC, Chargers, no. Denver, I don't know, man. Denver's too inconsistent for me of Denver. Houston, no. Pittsburgh, no. It really comes down to the Patriots, Jags, or Bills. Look, if I have the Bills beating the Jags today, I'm going to go Bills. I think Bills are going to beat the Patriots. I'm going to go Bills Eagles, man. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I'd go Bills Eagles. I think it's a tough year because there's nobody that really stands out.
You're going to be so pissed at the Bills, bro, because
I mean, look, they could lose today, no question.
As a consistent Bills backer this season, there have been at least 5 games, even when they've won, where I've been like, what the hell did I just bet on?
Yeah.
That team. God.
Yeah.
Bro.
So they're a tough team to bet on this year. Any additional props or parlays you like for today?
Nah, man.
I got my stuff in, so I'm good. I'm not betting.
I'm gonna build something. I just don't know when. I got an hour.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe I've been unmotivated. I don't know. I bet yesterday and it was all right for NFL. I just had some stupid losses, but Blake Corum rush hit, which was nice, really nice. Kyron Williams over 5 rushing yards in each quarter was a really good bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll maybe have a thing or two. I'm not like, I don't know, man. NFL postseason, maybe it's because I'm just so excited just to watch where I'm like, don't bet as much.
Yeah, maybe. So I don't know. This is a tough one to bet because I don't love the matchups. But Brad, anything else you want to touch on?
Man. Nah, man, this has been fun, dude. It just sucks, right? Like as we get closer and closer, the season's gonna be over, and then we have the off season. For anybody interesting, I do bet the draft. So I bet the draft heavy. I try to only go off of information, not guesses. So just make sure you follow me on X if you're not, because I will have draft bets, and I live bet the draft too. I don't know if we're gonna have a live bet draft show this year, me and Oaks, but we might. We kill it. We live bet the draft, and it's really fun.
For me, we got obviously a few more weeks of the NFL, but college baseball is coming back here. I tweeted it out today. This is the only non-Discord play I will give you guys, and I'm actually in the process of creating all my Discords for 2026 college baseball. I took the Florida Gators at 40-1 to win the College World Series.
I saw that.
I think they're a good dark horse.
What book?
DraftKings.
Okay.
Florida is 40-1 everywhere except for FanDuel. But
okay.
So I think Florida should be more like 25-1.
And how do your futures? Do you do just a full unit?
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't had a chance to fully evaluate everything. Like as soon as the Lions dropped, I came up with 5 teams I really liked this year. And then Florida originally wasn't one of them, but one of my buddies who I've been betting college baseball with for years, we had a like a 15, 20-minute conversation about them. Like, okay, here's the roster, who they grabbed in, like started looking into it, doing some research about some new guys they brought in. They had some talented players last year that missed a lot of time with injury. And I said, you know what? I think the Florida Gators are very interesting now. Like he talked me into it and then kind of just came to the conclusion that like, yeah, look, their team isn't anywhere near what it was in 2023 or 2024.
Yeah.
But you know, this is a situation where they have the pedigree, they have the coach, they still have a lot of talent. They have possibly the best 1-2 punch rotation in the country this year. They shouldn't be 40-1. They should be like 25-1. So that's where it came from. And I'm like, I was always going to bet a full unit on them, but then once I won the Chicago live bet, I kind of rolled most of that into the Gators. And honestly, like I just knowing what I know about college baseball futures, there's always that team that's like 30-1, 40-1 that's mispriced, and before the season they get steamed down. And I think Florida is going to be that team, and I didn't want to miss the number. So I grabbed it now. That way I'm locked in and I'm chilling with the Gators this year. They're not my essential pick to win it all, but they're a team that's in my portfolio that I really like. That if matchups draw and some of their guys that they're expecting to pop, then they're going to be interesting. And I actually, I said I had Josh Allen Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
So I parlayed Allen MVP with the Gators to win it all. So if Allen does end up winning Super Bowl MVP, then I have a lot of money on the Gators. But it's the only non-Discord pick I'm giving you guys. It's a 40-1 right now. That's going to move pretty quick. Be on the lookout on my Twitter at _JohnnyVTV, of course. I'm going to be this week sending out links to my Discord. It's going to be VIP. I did not raise the price on the VIP package from last year. I did not. It's going to be $200 for the entire season, regular and postseason. It's a good deal, man.
Sweet.
Cashed almost 35 units last year. I've been up. I mean, if I did the math, I'm well up over 100 units. This is my 5th year, so my first 4 years, well up over 100 units in 4 years. So it's a no-brainer. But in any case, appreciate everybody for locking in with us today. Best of luck this weekend. And we'll see you next week for the divisional round. Brad, gentleman and the scholar you are, my friend. I'll talk to you next week.
Peace. Thanks, everybody.